Hello everyone, and we are Group 1, and we are going to talk about our service. It's about the water quality detection and with IoT. And this is our outline. We will first talk about the introduction and the prototype of our service, and then we will give the business model, the VCM model, and the business plan. And finally, we will conclude our service. Okay, so first, this part 1 is the introduction. We will first talk about the world water equality detection market, and we think it's growing for several years, and a lot of companies, especially technology companies, have joined this market. And we list three main reasons. And first is the initiative to protect the environment. And we think the people now pay more attention of the environment, and we need to protect them. So we meant to improve the water equality. And the government also noticed this idea, so they may enact more regulation to improve the water equality and refine the factories not to just let the water do to harm on the environment. And the other reason is the new technology, and it may lead to less cost. And in the past, maybe it will take a lot of time, a lot of money to do just one inspection. But now, due to the new technology, it may lead to the less cost. So we can do a lot of inspection. Okay. And let's take a view of the Taiwan market. And we can see from the first line here, and it's a lot of factories, as more and more factories is being inspected from Taiwan government. And we will just take a look of the 2013-17 is last year, and we can see that it's more than 21,000 factory that is being inspected, and it's more than 23 times that the inspection was held. So we think it may be a huge number that we can join this market. And we can just give a simple calculation of the cost. And this is we found from the internet that every material be inspected the cost. And this 5 material is we find from the Taiwan regulation that is the most important material in the water. And it's like cube, the silver, and the pH value, and the cost is each inspection need. So we calculate the total cost is 8,100 if we need to have these 5 material to be inspected. So, and another regulation of Taiwan says that different from the factories, and if the big factories that the daily water disposal is more than 300 cubic meters, the test will be held every 3 months. And if the small factories, which the daily water disposal is less than the 300 cubic meter, and we will just hold the test every half a year. So due to these 2 slides, we can calculate that. For large companies, the yearly cost is 8,100 and multiplied by the 4 each year, so we can get the 32,400 each year the cost. And similarly for the small companies, we can calculate the $16,200. So if we can just less this cost, we will take advantage of this market. Okay, so we get to next part.
How do I close the presentation? Oh, all right. All right. So this is our prototype of the dashboard. As you can see, it's almost the same as the last time, but we made some improvements. So I will first go to the main graph. This shows for a chosen variable how it developed over time. Also, it shows the lower bounds and the upper bounds. You can see here now that the lower bound is 0, so you can't almost see it. But if you click here, you can also see other variables. Furthermore, you can, if you want to inspect it more closely, there are some basic functionalities such as zooming. You can look here what the exact value was at a certain time, and you can also adjust the time, so what period it covers. Below you see the gauges for the main variables. When it moves closer to one boundary, it first will turn yellow, and after that it will turn red. So it's easy to see when some variable is of some concern. You can see the upper boundaries and the lower boundaries of each variable. It's a bit small, but the colors say enough. And below each variable, you also see some statistics, such as the average, the daily average, the weekly average, and the monthly average. I think this is a good way to easily see how a variable is doing over time and whether it's of some concern. And that's the main things of our prototype. So that was it.
Okay, let's move on to the business model. Because of the before propose our business model, I will talk about the original method. Because of the regulation, so government should examine the factory with the water disposal periodically. So the factory should pay some examination fee to the government. For the big firms, which is $32,400 per year, and for the small firm is $16,200 per year. But we also, we just saw some weakness, so we propose our new business model. As we can see three players in this business model, which is sensor company, Advantech, which is represent our team, and also a factory with the water disposal. Because Advantech does not have their own sensor, so they have to borrow the sensor from the sensor company. And Advantech just provides some information and real-time alert to the factory, and also he helped the factory to collect the data, and also they lend the sensor to the factory. In return, factory should pay some service fee to the Advantech, which is how Advantech to generate the revenue, and also Advantech have to pay the rental fee to the sensor company, which is $3,000 per year. Both Advantech and the factory can access the cloud, which is for the data exchanging. And what's more, Advantech have to do one more thing, which is report the each factory's water disposal report to the government periodically, just based on the regulation. That's our business model.
Okay, and let me introduce our vision model. And we have some assumption first. The first assumption is that our market size is about 21,899, and the service fee is 13,000 Newton dollars. And for the penetration rate for first year and second year and third year is 10%, 30%, and 50% represented. And then we can use this assumption and we can calculate our value creation by the formula. That 32,400 is the big factory save per year, and we need to mind the cost of the rental fee is $3,000. And then we multiply the penetration rate and the assumption that the big firm is 30% of the market size. So we can easily to calculate the number is the large factory, the value creation of the large factory is 19.4 million per year. And use the same way we can calculate the value creation of the small factory. It's about 20.3 million per year. Then use these numbers, we can create a vision model. And we can see the first row is the three members of Advantech and large factory and small factory. All the members attend this plan, and we can create the value about 39.7 million per year. And if the small factory didn't attend this plan, just Advantech and large factory attend this plan, we can only create 19.4 million per year. And the third row is about that Advantech and the small factory attend this plan, and we can create 20.3 million per year. And the row below the third row is that Advantech didn't attend this plan, or the large factory and the small factory didn't attend this plan, and we can create no value in this market. And we can implement this VSM model using our code, and run this our code. We can see that the result is here. The pi maxima is 39.7 per year, and if we want to see the pi maxima of the second and the third year, we just need to exchange the penetration rate to 30% or the 50%, and we can see the pi maxima of the second year or the third year.
Okay, and next we would like to show you about our business plan, which is we would like to show you how our innovation can make Advantech profitable. Here is our financial statement of the first 3 years, and I will explain step by step. And the first is revenue. And we can see we use the market size to time the penetration rate, then we can get the number of factory adopt our innovation. And the price per year is, just like mentioned, is 13,000 per year. So we got the revenue. And then the variable cost. Just like mentioned, the sensor price per year is 3,000 for a single factory, and the gateway is 1,000 for a year. But you only the capacity of the gateway is 200 sensors, so you only need one gateway to service 200 sensors. So you divide 1,000 to 200, and you get 5. And this is our variable cost. And we are, let me explain about the salary part. For the first year, we recruit 6 engineer or the analysts to do our innovation. And as the penetration rate goes up from 10%, 30%, and 50%, we recruit more and more analysts and engineer. And we assume the salary for a single engineer per year is 1.2 million, because we know that Advantech is a very good company. So, and here is the salary part. And our services are based on hardware and the software, so the maintenance fee is necessary. And we do some research. The maintenance fee is generally 10 to 15% of the revenue. So we take average, namely 12.5%. Yes. And we also have to pay some money to the manager, so here is the overhead. Okay, we got, after we have revenue, we have variable costs, we have expense, we deduct it and deduct the tax. Then we got the next earning. Yes. Next earning is 6.5 million for the first year, and it grows very rapidly to 46 million for the year 3. Yeah. And now we would like to show you some conclusion and implications about our innovations. Our net earnings are not that high in the first year due to the penetration rate is very low, but later it grows significantly. So this is an invest-worthy business. Okay, and in fact, our service, as we mentioned, we just reduced the cost of the factory because they don't have to pay that more to do the water quality detection. But we think this is a little bit conservative because we do have some competitive advantage. Like we are 24/7 monitoring, and we can discover the water quality problem immediately. So we can raise the price after our business is stable. Yeah. And besides, you may have a question why we set our penetration rate this high to maybe 50% at year 3. It's because we think government will support us because our service are automatically collect data and transfer to our company, and we periodically report to the government. So it can avoid somebody who want to make up the numbers for past the required water quality detection. So here is all our presentation. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone. We are going to talk about real-time forecasting system for taxi industry. We're group 2. And first we are going to briefly introduce our idea, and we'll show you how the finished dashboard product may look like. Second, we'll talk about marketing and sales plan, and then we'll move on to value capture model and the conclusion. Currently, there are 4 ways for taxi drivers to find a customer. In busy urban areas like Taipei, most drivers simply hang around and search for customers. This is how the satellite dispatching system works. If you are closer to the customer location, you have higher chance of getting the business. In the past, some drivers passively wait for the company to call them, but they get less than 5 calls a day, and the wasted time could be large. With real-time forecasting system, all drivers can do just as well as efficient drivers by automatically collecting data, collecting the time and location where customers appear. And efficient drivers usually get more than 10 calls a day, and they have shorter searching time. With this forecasting system, we are able to reduce searching time and increase revenue. The time empty rate is calculated by 1 minus occupied time divided by total operating time, and this figure is currently at about 30% for taxi industry, indicating room for improvement. The input variable for this forecasting system includes external events like weather and activities, situational factors like time, area, and public transportation. The supply means number of taxis in the area. And this is an example of the data input for the forecasting system. The time range is measured by 24 hours, and the weather is 1 if it is raining, 0 if the weather is good. And we can also see if there is other public transportation in the same area, the weekday area, if there is activity and festivals, and we can also see if there is history for how many customers have appear in this same area. And I'll show the dashboard for drivers. This is what drivers see. And on the left, there's a GPS map. For the red square means forecasted demand minus current supply. The red dots means historical data where customers appear. So this is how what the drivers see. A driver is driving. When he sees the forecasted demand, he can zoom out to better understand the demand pattern.
Okay, so now we continue to what do the companies actually see. So okay, we can also imagine that big cab companies, or for example Uber, wants to see the accumulated information for last month. What we did is we tried to find some information. Unfortunately, we couldn't find the geographical location on a grid pattern for Taipei. So I looked it up and I could find it for New York. But if every cab has a sensor, then we could do it potentially for every city in the world. As we can see here, this is in a grid pattern. Now what do we try to model? For example, the average distance, the average fare price in NTD, how many trips in this area, the average price per kilometer, and how much did they make. And yeah, you can show this in multiple ways. So this is the average distance per day. And we try to do this for 2 routes, one from the airport to the city and one in the city itself. And it was quite interesting what we came out to with our model data. For example, now we can see that the average kilometers is quite high with 11, and the price is also 364. And when I compare it with the inner city data, the average kilometer was really low. The price is also lower, but you can do far more trips, which ensures that your price per kilometer goes up, and your total price also will go up, your total revenue, and this is what you want. So with this data, you can also say, oh, I'm going to store more cabs in this area, because in the end, as we saw from previous month, we can earn more money. So we can see here, this is from the airport, and we can see how many trips there are. If we multiply that with the average, then we get the total price. I think this is it. Where's the...
And Advantech will provide IoT solution and charge
slow penetration stage. In testing and data collection stage, our prime mission is to collect data. So we will provide free dashboard and 60-day free trial and charge monthly fee for data updating. And in slow penetration stage, we'll put efforts in introduction to main dispatching system and transportation network company, such as Taiwan Taxi and Uber. And we will still provide dashboard, but cancel the 60-day free trial. And for the third and fourth year is product development phase. We will, it's known as product growth stage. And our prime mission is to expand our market. The pricing strategy remains the same, but we will launch market penetration plan, including enter new target segments, such as individual taxi driver, and use the data we collected in the first 2 years to optimize analysis accuracy, and develop new product features to make our system more functional.
Hello, and here is some of our important milestones in this 4-year business plan. And because we believe that the service we provide can really reduce the searching time, just now we mentioned in the ideal pitch day of the taxi drivers. So the market share, that is our penetration rate, will have a tremendous growth during this 4th year. That is, the penetration rate will be 10% in the first year and 80% in the 4th year. And that is, the installations will be 2,400 in the first year and goes to the 19.2 thousand installations in the 4th year. And most important of all, the accuracy will improve. We'll try to improve our data analysis accuracies from 80% to 90% in just 4 years. And here's again the summaries of our milestones. And just like we mentioned above, the accuracy will be 90% and the market share will be 8%. And that is, our net profit will be $68 million and NT dollars in the 4th year. And the CAGR over this 4 years will be approximately 430%. And the following is our financial statements. And here is our assumptions in our financial statements. Just what we mentioned above, the price for dashboard is set to be 0 because we freely provide our dashboards to the taxi drivers. And the price for the subscription is set to be $580 per month. And the thing is that we derive our quantity by the total cap units of Taiwan Taxi and Ubers, multiply it by our penetration rate. That is 10% in the first year, 25% in the second year, and 50% in the third year, and 80% in the 4th year. And the following 3 rows is the cost for dashboards, sensors, and gateways. And I want to mention that, and compared to the previous group, our cost for sensor is quite cheap because we believe that the sensor we want to use is the most basic sensors. That is, it only requires the basic service for such as GPS and time. And the cost for the data analysis is gradually reduced because we believe that in the first year you will require more efforts into the data analysis. So here is our income statement. And here, sales revenue is just what we mentioned before, and the cost of goods sold, and the gross profit. And when we come to the operating expense, we charge 5% of the gross profit per year for our SG&A expense. And for our marketing expenditure, we charge Also, we charge 5% of the gross profit. But in the first year, we include our 60 days free trial into our marketing expenditure. And R&D expenditure is charged to be 10% of our gross profit in the first 2 years, and gradually decline in the following 2 years. So we got our net profit, and this is the $68 million in the 4th year.
Okay, now I'm going to talk about the value capture model. And value capture model can determine how much each player can appropriate and share the bargaining between players and the division of value. So when applying the value capture model to get the appropriation of each player, we should define all the criteria needed in calculation. So first, we have 3 players in our game, and the profit functions of each player are shown below. You can see the profit function of this business plan, and you can see the revenue comes from the subscription fee. Okay, and the profit of Taiwan Taxi or Uber, the cases should be divided into 2 cases. When they don't apply our services, their opportunity cost is equal to their original business plan. And when they use our services, the revenue increases at the cost of our subscription fee. And by our research and assumption, we can calculate how much revenue increases from the time a taxi driver can save and times the monetary value of that time, and which is the average fee a taxi driver can earn per hour. And these 2 tables are the research we've done to calculate the increase in revenue. So okay, now we have got all the numbers and we need it. So let's move on to the R real quick. So this is the codes I wrote, and now first we have 3 players. Can you see those? Can anyone see? Is it go? Okay, so we have 3 players, and our market size in 4 years is shown on the screen. And the first column is the innovator, and the second column is Taiwan Taxi, and the third column is Uber. So, can you help me change the color? Okay. So, value appropriation is basically a linear programming problem. To get the appropriation, we should consider all the situation in which some of the members are inside and some are outside the game. So I wrote those code to build the left-hand side of the constraint. So, well, 1 means that this player is in the game, and 0 means this player are outside the game. So I cite all the possibility, and we consider all the situation, and we use our research and assumption to calculate the right-hand side, the profit. So this part is our framework of linear programming. And I wrote a for loop to show you the result in 4 years. So okay. So in the first year, the first column is the innovator, and the second column is Taiwan Taxi. Third column is Uber. And we can just focus on this part. The first column is the minimum appropriation and the maximum appropriation of the first year, and this is the second year, and this is the third year, and this is the 4th year. And I have made the conclusion on my in my slides. So, okay. First, you can see that the minimum appropriation is 0, which means that our business plan has little competitive advantage. But it is because we didn't make any constraints and losses in the profit function, in their profit function when they don't use our services. And second, the range of the appropriations each year are really huge, and the upper bound value is equal to the total value we create in each year. So, which means that this business plan, just like most of other business plan, we need to put a lot of efforts into marketing for profitability. So I want to review our business plan in the view of Rogers Innovation Core model. The speed of diffusion of new products is driven by the 6 factors, which are advantage, compatibility, compatibility, observability, and risk and divisibility. For our monthly subscription policy compared to the conventional approach, which we just sold out all the products we manufacture, we have more values in divisibility because our innovation can be experimented with on a limited basis. And furthermore, the effect of our services is observable and it's easy to measure. For early adopter, what matters most is the effectiveness rather than just the price. And finally, the advantage we provide is appealing, and the value of the advantage is fixed per unit. So the more units they use, the more value they can get. So in conclusion, we believe that our business plan is workable and profitable. So this is our presentation. So thank you for listening.
Let's just start, okay? Hi everyone, we are Group 4, and our topic is about road traffic management and pedestrian safety. So let's do a quick recap. What did we do in our midterm project? Our midterm project is about use sensor and camera to determine the traffic light and the green light second, but we have a reflection that our scale is too big, so we want to narrow down our question and to focus on what is related to each other. So we think about, we should pay more attention on pedestrian safety because as you all know, Taipei has a very convenient metro system, and our U-Bike, we are very proud of that. But when it comes to last mile, is pedestrian, finally we need to walk to some place, right? But our pedestrian safety is not very safe in Taipei, so this topic is we want to talk about. So, okay, so the following is, let us do the introduction.
So we have made some research and discovered there are two main ways for the system two main systems in the world to apply the pedestrian crossing. The American system is applied in Taiwan, and it's really easy actually. It just consists to have a special light for pedestrian and make them cross the old street at the same time. Oh yes. At the same time, cars go straight but also right, and it has been shown that it's the cause of a lot of accidents because cars don't let the priority to pedestrian or bikes. The difference with the UK system is that they are driving the crossing in two time, and pedestrians have a place where they can wait in the middle of the street, a refuge island. Like that, car can have their own moment to turn right, and they don't need to take care of the pedestrian. The UK traffic safety ranking are one of the best in the world, with only 28 accidental deaths per million people in 2014, and average around 34 accidental deaths per million in the country who are applying the UK system. When the results are over 100 for the USA, and Korea will also apply the UK system. And we know that Taiwan is applying the American system, but we don't have really relevant data about that. About the accidental in Taiwan. So on the right, you can see the American system. When the light is green, pedestrian can go, but car can turn right and left at the same time pedestrian are crossing. This is a dangerous moment we want to eliminate. Thanks to the refuge island and the two-time crossing you can see on the left, on the right, sorry. That's why we are proposing to the government a way to apply the UK system to improve the security of its inhabitants. This can also have a good effect on an ecological point, encouraging people to walk and bike than driving.
There's a video showing what we mean, and maybe you can take a look. So in the American system, cars come up to an intersection and they're allowed to turn right while pedestrians are allowed to cross the road. And so there's competition there, and you get these kinds of accidents. So our idea is to implement the British system in Taiwan. It should reduce right-hand turn accidents. We estimate that injuries will be reduced by 20% and deaths by 50%. These are not just taken out of thin air. We reference Zador and Marcus, which is a paper that looked at how right-hand turn accidents increased in the US after certain states allowed right-hand turns at the intersections. So we want to increase safety, reduce injuries and deaths, but the impact on efficiency is not very clear because if we allow cars and pedestrians to go at the same time, we don't know how quickly each is able to travel to get to their destination, and we don't know the throughput of cars or pedestrians in the British system when only one can go at a time. So it's hard to say how this would impact efficiency, but we have an idea on how to address both safety and efficiency. So, 2 goals. No, I can talk about this. So the first goal is to reduce competition between pedestrians and cars. For example, in Xinsheng Nanlu and Xinhailu, there's an intersection there that is a prime example. So our first goal is to increase safety, reduce competition, reduce injuries and deaths, and we do that by implementing the British system. And then our second goal is to use IoT sensors, which calculate the number of people waiting to cross the street, and then based on the number of people waiting to cross the street, we can dynamically adjust the time allotment between cars and pedestrians. So the second goal is addressing the efficiency concern. So maybe government would be concerned about implementing this system because actually, while injuries and deaths are costly, there's a high social cost in terms of healthcare costs and stuff. Not many people are injured, and not many people die. So if you implement this system, maybe most voters would focus on not being able to turn right instead of actually this is cost beneficial. So we think that addressing the efficiency, addressing how much time is given to cars versus pedestrians is very necessary. So our business plan is, so Advantech would be the solution provider and the government would be the end customer and the voters by extension. And we made some estimates on, for example, the service cost for Advantech. We estimate that the sensors to calculate the number of people would be about 6,000 NTD per intersection, and then the computer to manage that would be 8,000, and then the installation per intersection would be 20,000. So for each intersection, it would be 34,000. And then the service fee to the government, so that's what Advantech charges the government, would be 60,000 per intersection. If we assume those numbers, then the profit for Advantech would be 26,000 NTD. So 3,000 intersections in Taipei. If you multiply that out, you get 78 million for profit if Advantech is able to service every intersection in Taipei. So the cost of solution over 5 years, because you only have to implement it once, and then the system is automatic. The 5-year cost is the same as the first-year cost. So 3,000 intersections times the fee by Advantech to the government, which is 60,000, and you come up with 180 million. And then the cost savings over 5 years is just 5 times our estimated annual reduction in costs from the reduction in deaths and injuries. And we'll talk a little bit about how we come up with that number later. So that would be 490 million. So the 5-year net benefit to the government would be 310 million. Okay.
Okay. Before we conduct this part, I want to talk about why we choose Xinsheng and Xinghai, this intersection. Because it's my personal experience. One day, I was going to pick up a girl in front of the stadium. So I'm going to date with her. And I'm a little bit late, so I ride very quick. But it's red light. It's green light for me. So I think I can turn right. But there's a pedestrian just walk from the other side and come. But I still turn right because I think it's right. It's green light. But there's a policeman just right over the corner and wait for me to say, please pull over. And I just got fined for around 1,000 and 200. I think it's right. It's green light for me. And he say, you didn't keep a safety distance between you and pedestrian. But I think this distance is quite subjective. I think it's safe enough, but the policeman say it's not safe. And the ends up, I got fined and I'm late and it sucks. So I really think this kind of situation happen every day, no matter you are riding your bike or you are pedestrian. Sometimes you think it's green light, you want to keep walking, but a car or motorcycle just want to turn right. So you create a confliction between pedestrian, bike, and motorcycle and car. So this is why we want to solve this problem. Sorry, I make it more intuitively so I can keep going. So this is our business plan and value network map. So right now we are at Advantech, and in the end of the year we have an election. So everyone want to say, oh, I want to improve Taipei's transportation, something like for me it's a very politics slogan. They don't have any practical solution to this problem. So the solution and the sensor we bring is a whole package. We really want to introduce Taipei transportation, but we focus on pedestrian safety. So as you can see, we want to help Mayor Ko win more votes by improving traffic safety and efficient. And once he don't want to deal with us, we can deal with the other two parties. So making their politics slogan more practical. So it's a win-win situation. Means Mayor Ko can win more votes, and the votes as a pedestrian walking on the street, they can be safer. So I think this is our value net map. So this is our value capture model analysis. So as you can see, do you want to talk about number?
So in the business plan section, we mentioned that the annual estimated cost reduction would be 98 million NTD, and that formula above is how we come up with that number. We take the estimated annual number of deaths times the estimated cost of each death, and then the same for injuries. And then the 0.5 is our estimated reduction. So we assume that we'll reduce the number of deaths by half, and then we'll reduce the number of injuries by 20%. And then obviously, because the number of deaths and injuries that the data that we have is for all of Taipei, so we multiply it by the number of accidents that are right-hand turn, which is 1.5%. And so the deaths and injuries and the death costs and injury costs, those numbers come from official Taipei and Taiwan government agencies. And then the estimated reduction in injuries and estimated reduction in deaths comes from that study that I mentioned earlier. And the percent right-hand turn is an estimate from the United States data. So that's 1.5% of accidents are at intersections when turning right. So we're only addressing that aspect of the deaths and injuries. So we have to multiply by 1.5%. When we calculate that out, we get 98 million. So we make some assumptions when doing the value capture model. We assume that we only can work with one party at a time. And without us, there'd be zero added value or value created. Let's see. Did you want?
So how do we decide and how do we divide our green lights for pedestrian and cars want to turn in right? So this is our simulation time from 12 p.m. to 12 at noon. So this is the number of pedestrian and bicycle want to cross the roads and the cars and scooters. So we put them together. So we can calculate as the formula on top of this slide. So the number is pedestrian and vehicles number combined together. And we multiply 1.05 because I think pedestrians take more time to cross the street. So we should give them more time rather than we just care about the number between pedestrian and cars. So we should give them more time to walk through the intersection. So as you can see, the cars and scooters second and pedestrian and bicycle second, we assume each green light is 60 seconds. So you can see the percentage between pedestrian and cars when decided by the number of each set. So this is our simulated dashboard. And as you can see, there's a select day you will want to know because maybe Friday night you will have more pedestrian walking on the streets and less car driving on the road, something like that. And this is traffic information dashboard during normal hours. Means there's no events. But we pick up this intersection because it's right next to our NTU stadium. And as you all know, there are a lot of concerts. And okay, this case, just as last Sunday, and I just joined the graduation ceremony because I'm second year of master degree now, so I'm going to graduate. So it's events, and I still remember the situation. A lot of people pack on the corner, and a lot of U-bike or something is quite dangerous. So you can see the simulator. We create a pedestrian volume shock, means there's a 10,000 because 10,000, around 9,000 student join the graduation ceremony. So we can see I created 10,000. And the starting time and closing time on the left hand is starting time of the ceremony is 9 and the closing time is 12. So we can see the volume. There's a pedestrian volume shock before the ceremony and after the ceremony. So as we can know, the time, we should give more time to pedestrian rather than let car keep turning right and create a lot of confliction. So yeah, this is our presentation. Thank you all.
Can everyone hear me? All right. So I'm gonna be manning both the mic and going through slides. So bear with us for just a few moments. We're Group 3, and we're going to talk to you about an IoT product, using IoT to create a new product. It's an existing technology, and a lot of the IoT is already there, but we're going to try to apply some learnings to create something of greater value. And we're thinking about milk, a superfood, making it super milk. So today's presentation, we're going to talk about our motivation, the customers, IoT product, show you our dashboard, discuss a little bit about the business plan, value capture model, and some managerial insights and implications. So the dairy industry has a problem, but could IoT be a solution? Farmers are often paid less than the cost to produce milk. It's not really a stable market. Even in Taiwan, Taiwan actually has the 3rd highest cost of milk in the world, and it's a fluctuating price. Some solutions have popped up in regards to producing premium quality milk, and they leverage expertise, but not really IoT. So we want to find a way to use both. And our solution is to start from the top. A sustainably produced, sustainably sourced, higher-end organic milk product, allowing producers to more efficiently produce milk and middlemen to sell at a higher price. So why start with milk, right? This comes from the United States Department of Agriculture. We don't have, in many of our examples, we're not going to have specific Taiwan data, but we're going to try to pull whenever possible. And the reason is because it's not really a developed market. Otherwise, we would have data if it were a big market in Taiwan, but it's not. So let's give you a look at what's going on in the US. So we're looking at retail price premiums for organic foods. Eggs actually command the highest retail price premium for organic foods, but that's a market that's covered in Taiwan already. You can find existing premium options at 7-Eleven. And the next best thing is milk. IoT is established in cows, but automation and premium milk is still a big opportunity area. We usually see automation in terms of milking cows, but not in terms of the process of developing a higher quality premium milk. Yogurt also produces a high price premium, 52%, but milk is still higher, and milk is central to the production of yogurt, so yogurt's probably a better expansion area. And very interestingly, let's look at coffee. Coffee commands a 47% price premium. It's very popular. It's usually one of the first things that we think about when we think about organic coffee, fair trade, a retail price premium, but it's actually less of a premium than milk. And something interesting is many people take milk with coffee. So if you're going to choose one or the other, milk will get you the higher premium. Are consumers actually willing to pay? We found some data that says, yes, consumers in Taiwan are willing to pay, but this study in the Journal of International Food and Agribusiness Marketing provides stronger evidence, and they really looked at the Canadian market. Given a discrete choice, they found that Canadian consumers are willing to pay more for milk and ice cream products that are able to show customers that they can be traceable, that the sourcing comes from Canada. And they also found that consumer knowledge, consumer willingness to pay were correlated. So if you didn't know about this, then your willingness to pay also decreased. So while we may only see a few examples of the premiumization of milk, it's definitely coming. And we see it talked about by researchers, executives, producers, and analysts. Demand for local food in the US grows largely in response to corporate co-opetition of the organic food market and the arrival of organic light. Coke is a big investor in this area. They see growth potential in the dairy market, even though sales volumes are slumping, and so do the farms that they work with. Analysts see it too. Coke's strategy is they're going to be investing in this business. And while it doesn't look great right now, they feel like it's going to make a lot of money for them later. I'm going to hand it over to Kylie. She's going to tell us a little bit more about Coca-Cola's premium milk product and why we think that there's an opportunity for something comparable in Taiwan.
Okay. Thank you, Philip. So first of all, I want to ask a question. So anyone here who knows about Fairlife? Okay, so Fairlife is a milk brand from Coca-Cola, and it has succeeded in providing a premium milk. So what they had done so far is they reduced 50% less sugar in milk, and at the same time, they increased 30% more calcium and 50% more protein in milk. And also, they removed the lactose in milk. And with all of the characteristics, they can double the price of regular milk and sell the product at a higher price. And we want to build our milk, super milk, based on this quality. So with our full traceability, with IoT technology, we can offer the full traceability of the product, and at the same time, we can provide better taste, superior nutritional quality, and remove all the lactose. It means that we can reduce allergen and infection in milk, and for all of the reasons, we can offer our milk at a higher price. And now let's take a look from the global perspective about why we believe that our technology, our milk, can make a lot of money in the future. So from the global perspective, according to a Food and Health survey in 2015, they find out that people really want to feeling good about what you eat, right? So it's the future of the food and nutrition market in developed nation. So let's take a look at the moment. People regularly buy what product? Only 10% of the respondents respond that they regularly buy product, the food labeled as sustainable resource. 30% of them regularly buy organic food, and only 40% of them regularly buy food labeled as natural. But, however, 72% of the respondents responded that they think about the way their food is farmed and produced. 88% of them believe that they think about the ingredient in their food, and 91% of the customer, they believe they want to think about the healthfulness of their diet. Very promising, right? And we're also very happy to find out that the same situation is in Taiwan. So let's take a look at the consideration in buying dairy products in Taiwan. We can see that people really care about the price, the quality, the function, government verification, and also followed by ingredient. We also find out that in a research a researcher want to know whether a customer want to buy the product at a higher price. And he find out that people are willing to buy products if they can know more about the one-dimension quality factory in this category. Yes, they want to know more about the chemical additive labeling, the genetically modified food labeling, and other virus or bacteria testing labeling. So they want to pay more. They're willing to pay more if they can know about the one-dimension quality factors. Yes, and now Sonia will talk more about our customer.
So, who is our customers? Our customers, we will sell our IoT product to the dairy manufacturer. And this graph is the current situation in Taiwan market share. So, the Weiquan, Tongyi, and Guangquan are the top 3 dairy manufacturers respectively. But in the food safety event in 2014, the Weiquan's appeals is to establish a transparent management. So we think that our IoT product can help Weiquan to establish the transparent management more easily.
Okay, so now let's look at the supply chain of the original dairy industry. Okay, so we can see that after the worker milking the cows, the milk will be sent to the factory and do some process, and then it will be sent to the store. And this is the milk that we drink every day. Okay, so what's the problem in the system? Okay, so when we look at our milk, we might wondering whether the quality is good, is it fresh enough, or is it safe enough? And the question is because that as a customer, we are so hard to get close to the factory process, and then we are not sure whether they have a really good quality control. And if we think further, it's hard for us to know whether when the cow is alive, whether he is really healthy enough. So here we are providing an IoT solution which we can improve all the problems. We first, for example, we can put a sensor on cows, and then we collect data, analytic this, and then we can construct a model to monitor the condition of cows, control the quality of milk. And another one is we can build up a production resume, which can help us to enhance our transparency in production practices. Okay, so let's look how well it work. Okay, so the big gray circle in the middle means the value that is co-created by our partnership, which are suppliers who has farms and cows, and the customers, let's say Wei Chen, who really want to improve their relationship with their customers. Okay, and by constructing this value network, we can not only co-create a much bigger value for the whole dairy industry, but also all the parties in the value network can be very benefit. For example, for the suppliers part, in the past, they have spent lots of time and money to take care of their cows, but the death rate of their cows still so high. And so with our IoT solution, they can now pay less attention, but control the condition of cows better. And then they can maintain the death rate of cows at a very stable, low rate, and then therefore they can save thousands of costs. And another one is that with our solution, they can provide milk with more stable and high quality. Therefore, they can charge at higher price, so enhance their profits. And for the customer's part, let's say Wei Chen, because he has not a very good reputation recently because his food safety problem. So if he can work with us, we can ensure that he can get better raw milk, and then he can maintain a very good production stability. And with our production resume, he can connect to his customer and convince them that their production process is really good and really transparency, and therefore they can reduce their concerns and try to get their trust back.
Okay, and this is what we will provide to the Wei Chen. We will provide a full stack package. We will not only provide the IoT data, we may also provide some hardware device and the software. So it may contain a system management, the device control, and the chemical analysis and health monitoring. And also we may construct a friendly dashboard to them and to do some instant or historical data analysis. So what are we really analyzing? First, we may analyze the farm distribution. By the farm distribution, our customers may know where is the farm located and where is the farm's name and the environment, the water or anything else. So the Wei Chen don't need to send people to the farm by their own. They can just sit in their office and to look at our IoT system and to know the environment is good or not. And also we may provide the data like the information, quality and quantity, and the health monitoring. So if a cow suddenly produces the less quantity as usual, our customers can know whether the cow is illness or not, so that can avoid our customers choosing the illness cow produced, the milk the illness cow produced. And the most important part we are analyzing is the quality monitoring data. And by the quality monitoring data, the customers can choose the specific data they want, like the ingredients or the microbial or the allergen detection. For example, the allergen detection data, the casein, the alpha, lactabian, and the beta one are the common allergen in the milk. But not all these allergens may make every people feels uncomfortable. So if the customers can use our IoT product, they can label the specific allergen on the milk production so that the consumers can choose the dairy production more appropriately. So what we do is to help Weichuan to construct a more transparent traceability more easily. And as we mentioned before, we have the IoT system to make them to establish a more transparent management. And also we can connect the customers and the suppliers connection. And in the end, we can use the quantity and quality information to do some future analysis so that we can let the quality and quantity more stable and also can analyze the data more stability. Yes.
Here's the basic version of the IT platform. Can you click on the link, please? Yes. The blue one. I think you. You have to wait for a second. Can you place it on the screen?
If the judges wouldn't mind, we can turn the computer around, but you may have to stretch a little bit.
Sorry. Yeah, the basic function is to select a batch over here in the top, and then we can see from which farms the milk is coming from that batch. So that's the basic functionality of this platform. So this is something what maybe a customer consumer can see when they scan, for instance, a barcode on a milk product. They can see my milk is coming from those farms. The milk is a high quality milk because of the how much protein there is in, how much calcium. So now as the customer, the consumer is able to understand the quality of the milk. And this one function also, maybe for the dairy company itself, there are some functionalities. This is just the basics. Of course, the company can analyze the farm itself, can see where the farm is located, but get some historical data from it, from how it's performing, how the quality is from the milk he's delivering. So this is actually the basic functionalities of the platform. Yeah, this is all the show now. Yeah, we can continue with the slides. Okay. Yeah, you can. Yeah, maybe for the rest of the class, this is the main part of the dashboard. We can select a batch over here. We can see on which farms it's coming from, and we get some main statistics about the quality of the milk. Yeah, you can continue. Of course, this was a really basic version of the platform, but of course, as mentioned before, we can, when we have more data available, we can connect demand with forecast of supply, and of course, we can going to predict the quality of the milk using several sources of data. This is for Peter. Here you go.
Okay, and this is our financial statement, but I want to introduce that this is our penetration rate, the reason why I choose this number is because I think we need 4 years to let Weichen totally apply our IoT system. And the market share of Weichen is about 30%. So at year 4, our penetration rate is about 26%. Is almost the market share of Weichen. And next. And okay, so this table is about the price with IoT system and without IoT system. Okay, so the first, I will introduce that the marginal cost. Okay, with IoT system, we can reduce the marginal cost because of the we can reduce the cow's mortality, and it's about 90%. So I times 0.9 here, and the final price is 89 is the average milk price in Taiwan per kilogram, and 97.9 is the premium milk price in Taiwan. So we assume that if Weichen use as IoT system, they can increase their price here. And we can see another price here. 22 is the it's the final price. Wait, 22 is the actually gain they earn from the milk selling transaction, because they have to pay a lot of money to the retailers. And okay, without the system, we can increase the price to 24.2. And this is our VCM model. We can see the membership inside our VCM model is Weichen, Tongyi, Guangquan, and we. Okay. So this is the first VCM model, first year VCM model, pi minimum and pi maximum. And in 4 years VCM model, we can see that our bargaining power is increasing here. Okay.
Thanks for your patience. We'll make this quick. I want to talk to you about a couple of managerial insights about trying to market something like this to a Weichen. Let's go to the next slide. So part of this, we had to help people to explain how this fits into their how they can market it, how they can use it to market themselves. So we've had to kind of create just kind of a quick vision and mission for how a new product line might fit into their company, how that might change how people would see them. And we say, it might help them become seen as a leading competitive nutrition company, a preferred corporate citizen, partner, supplier selling preferred products. It shows that they respect people, cultures, and natural environments. And a lot of what we're proposing here aligns values with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So this might actually help them in several different ways. Let's go to the next slide. So I chose a 4-piece because it's a very clean and convenient way to show how this product might be marketed, right? Premium organic milk, premium product at a premium price, placement or proposed main business area in Taiwan, and we even included a distribution strategy of the proposed product. In terms of promotion, that's what we're really talking about right now. Partner with the customer to develop a brand. We may consider creating our own certification mark to identify our involvement in Weichen's product. And we want to leverage the value of traceability. How is this so? Well, one thing we learned, according to the Nielsen Global Survey of CSR, people are willing to pay more for sustainable products if we label them as such. Millennials are most responsive to sustainability actions, but just about everyone else is as well. But this is a big piece of the market, 56%. This is a group that you really want going forward because they're going to be your customers for life. And finally, we developed a balanced scorecard just to give a strategic map of how this might eventually play out. And that's our presentation. What could we have made more clear for you?